We are joined by 343 Industries' Kiki Wolfkill and the lovely Frank O'Connor to give us new details about the Guardians campaign and a Halo: The Fall of Reach exclusive. Welcome, guys.
How's it going?
How's your show going so far?
I don't know. I've been in a little room in the upstairs on the Xbox booth the whole time.
Means it's great. Now listen, in the footage, I want to roll back to that footage that we just had on the screen a moment ago. We're following Agent Locke and Fire Team Osiris as they search for clues to track down Master Chief. Tell us a little bit more about the campaign as well as the team's overall objective in the story.
Well, it's the first Halo game that has been built from the ground up for co-op. So if you're playing with 3 friends in a fire team of 4, it's obviously fun. Everyone knows that. If you don't have any friends available that day, then AI will take over the other 3 characters. And so those characters are always there, and they feed into the story. And in the campaign trailer and demo that we already showed, Agent Locke, former Agent Locke, now Spartan Locke, has been tasked, along with the other members of Team Osiris, to hunt down the Chief.
Right.
And you've seen little hints of that in our Hunt the Truth campaign.
Yeah.
But at this stage in the game, which is sort of heading towards the middle of the game, the Chief is AWOL, and he is the #1 task for them to solve.
And then obviously we've heard a little bit more about the actual campaign. You're going to play on both sides. Can you talk to us a little bit more in depth about how that story works as a player?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of storytelling in the game, and the characters are communicating with each other, and of course, the cinematics and vignettes that kind of play all that out. It's hard to say too much about it because there's so many twists and reveals in that plot, and in what happens as those 2 forces actually converge, that I'd be giving away way too much. And that's just part of it. There's some stuff that happens at the end of the game that's going to blow your mind, but ultimately, initially it starts out as kind of a hunt, but it turns into something pretty different after the halfway mark.
All right, now Frank and Kiki, you talked about doing it with co-op and friends. Does each team member have different loadouts, or can you give us examples of how that's going to work?
Well, the teams have different specialties.
Right.
I mean, we have one of the best snipers in the universe in the shape of Linda if you're playing on the Chiefs team. And of course, we brought back Buck from ODST, who used to be the top dog in the ODSTs.
Right.
But now he's kind of a junior Spartan. So it's going to be interesting to see Nathan kind of playing through that dynamic.
Right.
But it's really about their personalities and their skills. But the gameplay is kind of symmetrical. We didn't want people arguing over who had the best weapon
right.
when they're choosing their character to pick. However, I think that clever players are going to go for the weapon that most suits their persona.
As well it should.
Absolutely.
Well, and you mentioned weapons, and Kiki, I actually went up and hung out with you when you guys were building the full-size Warthog. So we've seen the Artemis tracking system and the plasma caster. Can you tell us about some of the gear and gadgets and maybe vehicles we'll get in this one?
Yeah, I don't know that we can go into a lot of detail, but we definitely have some new vehicles. You saw the Phaeton in some of our materials, and yeah, so it's interesting because you kind of have Blue Team, who's the Spartan 2s, sort of tried and true, and then you have the new generation of Spartans with Osiris Team, and they each come with their own accoutrement.
Yeah.
I'll let Frank dig a hole and leak information.
No, the other thing is because it's always 4 players all the time, whether they're AI or whether you're friends, vehicle combat actually becomes much more important because you could tell someone to go get in a vehicle rather than what we used to do in Halo, which is kind of drive around in a circle praying that someone got into the back of your truck, trying to distract them from the fight. Yeah. And, so.
All right, now listen, Halo, Kiki, I understand you brought something with you. What are you going to show us today?
We did. So, one of the big story pieces is this sort of Osiris Team and Blue Team dynamic. And for people who are fans of the Halo lore, they know the story of the Fall of Reach. They understand who Blue Team is and Master Chief's sort of origins.
Look at this. This is a brand new image. We've never seen it before.
Yeah, there's the logo.
So this is Halo: The Fall of Reach. So it's an animated series that we're releasing with Halo 5. It's part of the limited edition. And it tells the story of the Spartan 2 program and how John became Master Chief and how Blue Team came together as a fire team really as children when they were abducted and became part of the Spartan 2 program. So it's kind of the deep lore that gives you a little bit more insight into, why is Blue Team so important to Chief? And as you play in Halo 5, where does that sort of depth of connection come from? We get to see that story in the Fall of Reach.
Of course, now everyone wants to know, well, when does the story begin? The game comes out?
October 27th.
Unless you buy the limited collector's edition. comes out a week earlier.
Right.
So
Yes,
you can
good
preload
point.
it before launch and be ready at midnight.
How many of you guys are getting the early one?
What else would you get? All right. Thank you very much. 343 Industries, Kiki Wolfkill, and Frank O'Connor.